Hello, so what we want to do now is we want to put together one of these button boards, and to do so you're going to need just a couple of different things. You're going to need the button board, of course, itself. You're going to need a 10K resistor. So if you don't have it out of a labeled drawer, you need to make sure, even if you do, it's always good to make sure you check to make sure you got the right one. It should be a brown, black, orange in color banding. The last band is either going to be gold or silver. I think what we typically have are the gold ones. You're going to need 3 header pins broke off of a strip, and of course you're going to need a button. Alright? And you don't absolutely have to have it, but I like using a little bit of this modeling clay to help hold down the board. So as typical in a board like this, you want to start building from the lowest profile component upward. And you're going to see in this case it's the resistor. The resistor is going to lay lowest on the board. So we want to insert the resistor and solder it into place first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this up. I'll do it up here for this camera. Okay. I'm going to bend this like so. And I am going to insert it. The resistor hole are the ones that go around this sort of rectangle here. So these go in here like so. Alright, I can't do that through the camera. I have to actually hold it up. Alright, so I've got it placed in here like this. Now what I need to do, and you can see it's flush, right? It's against the board. I'm going to mount this in the clay so that it can be soldered into place. Keep in mind the clay that we use is Sculpey clay. And if you do get Sculpey clay hot, it does turn hard. So what you want to do is you want to try to keep the parts kind of far away so that the heat does not transfer to the clay and cause it to harden. I'm going to display this out a little bit, and let's see if this thing will focus again. Alright, and I'm going to solder this into place. I'm actually going to pause it because I just can't seem to solder at the same time with the camera in my way. So let me get this solder in place. I'll be right back. Okay, so I've soldered it into place. You can see the part is laying flat on the board. I will say that as a good habit, I solder just one wire, and then I check to make sure the part is still flat, and then solder the second one in, just in case it gets bumped while you're soldering it. The next thing we want to do is we want to insert the switch into the board. Notice that these things are not symmetrical, okay? The wires are much closer between here and here than they are from here to there. So logically it's going to be inserted into these holes here likewise, so the closer ones go in there. The orientation does not matter in this direction. It could be like this, or it can be like this. That does not matter, but you do not want it mounted like this. Okay, so again, I can't really insert this while holding it under the camera. I'll put it up here so you can see. I'm currently trying to line these up, and once I have them lined up, I will firmly push it in. I'm going to go ahead and pause this and get it all set. Okay, you can see that I've got it placed in the board. It's flush with the board, and the wires go all the way through. This did take a little more effort than at first thought. I had to kind of pinch it a little bit. These bumps on the wire here that help hold it in place, these clips, gave me some resistance trying to get it into place. Just be persistent, don't push too hard, and you should be able to get those to slide in there and go through the board and anchor securely. Now what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to place it back into my clay, and I will solder this one in as well. And again, I'm going to pause this because it's just too hard to solder between the camera and the surface. Okay, so I've got this board soldered up. It looks good. The button is flush. I'll hold it up here too so you can kind of see. Okay, everything's looking just great. The last thing we have to do is we have to put these header pins in. Please be careful. Make sure that the long end sticks up and the short end, okay, the shorter of the, see, take a look, one side's long, one side's short. All right, long, short. Stick the short end in this way. Okay, and then you can go ahead and solder this into place. And again, I'm going to use a bit of clay. I'm actually probably going to use just one because I want the pins, I should move this a little bit, I want the pins being held in place by touching the tabletop. And I'm only going to put one dab of solder on one pin initially, and I'm going to make sure that it's straight before I put the other two. So let me go ahead and put that one in right now. I'll pause it, I'll show it to you, and we'll be right back. Okay, so I've put a dab of solder just on this one. I want to make sure that the pins look straight and they're flush, and they look great. They're nice and straight and they're all the way in. You can see the little dab of solder that I did put on this one. Okay, I will now go ahead and finish soldering the other two pins, and then we'll be ready to test this thing. Okay, the board's done. All right, looks great. The pins are straight, the parts are flush, solder joints look just fine. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is shoot another little video seeing how we can test to make sure our soldering was good. So I should see you again shortly once you make it back to your desk.